Hi guys! In this video I'm going to share 3 tips with you that will help people who has tendinitis of their wrists. So my name is Maryke. I'm the physiotherapist from sportsinjuryphysio.com, where you can get online physiotherapy assessment as well as treatment for your injuries. Have a look at the description of this video if you want to have a look at my website. So tip number 1 is you will need relative rest for your wrists if they've got inflammation in them or tendinitis in them. Now, it's quite difficult if you have a desk job and you have to type to give them rest, but you can do that through actually adjusting your workstation and using different types of things when you're typing. So for instance, what do I mean with that? If you think of when you use a regular mouse, then you tend to hold it in this position, and these tendons work really hard with the muscles that extend your wrist. As soon as you use an upright mouse that puts your hand in this position, you don't use these muscles at all. You're now using other muscles and other tendons. So that can be quite useful for some patients. Other things that can help is if you make your chair higher. Because think about it, let me just see if I can show you this. Say for instance I'm sitting at this level and my keyboard is there and I'm typing like that. So if you can see the angle of my hands. Now as soon as I lift myself up that I'm slightly higher, can you see it changes the angle of the wrist? So even through just something simple like that, you can make a difference to which muscles and tendons work harder or give them a little bit of relative rest. Another feature that can be useful is that you make sure your keyboard is the right size for you. Sometimes a larger keyboard is better, sometimes a smaller keyboard is better, because then depending on the size of it, it's going to depend how much you've actually got to use your wrists while you're typing. So just go and think about things like that. How can you give those wrists relative rest while you're still managing to do your work? What was it that just got into my head there while I was saying that? Something about it'll come back to me in a minute. Of course, the other thing that's important is also to take breaks during the day, but we'll get back to that one under point number 3. So yes, workstation adaptations is extremely important if you've got tendinitis of your wrists. Then tip number 2 is do strength training. I know stretching can make it feel, if it's sore, it feels as if you want to be stretching it the whole time. And it can sometimes help, but you'll find that the pain comes back quite quickly from that. Whereas if you do strength training, 1, it's better at taking the pain away for longer than stretching alone. And 2, it actually increases the blood supply and the oxygen through the muscles and the tendons, which helps it to heal. And the stronger it is, the better the endurance, so the more it can tolerate the work that you're putting through it. And it's not rocket science, it's anything that you use your hands with to grip hard and do exercise with will exercise the muscles of the wrist. So to give you a few examples, a TheraBand is a really useful piece of kit, and you can get them off Amazon. You can get packets of about 5 different colors, and the different colors are usually different strengths of them. So those can be useful because you start with the very easy ones, because if you go and do hard strength training on a tendon that's painful, you can irritate it. So you've got to start quite gently. Now, you can either do very isolated wrist movements. So actually, let me put this back a bit and bring this down so you can see me lower down. Okay, so if we think about it, yes, you can go and isolate the wrist muscles themselves by, I would always say, support your forearm, not necessarily on your knee. I would support it on a side of a table, that the wrist is free to come off the side of the table and move. Tie this bit to something, or just hold it in your other hand like I'm going to do now, and you can just do that type of thing nice and slow. And you can do it in all directions. So if you turn your hand into this direction, you'll be exercising different muscles. But I always feel it's a bit of a waste if you're just doing one muscle group at a time for things like this. And to be honest, if you isolate the tendons that much, it can sometimes irritate them further. So I tend to use combination exercises. So for instance, doing bicep curls with them. So if you think of a bicep curl, doing that motion, yes, you're exercising the bicep, but can you see that my wrist flexors have to work quite hard to not allow my wrist to be doing that? So as long as you keep your wrist in a nice, good position, these muscles are now working isometrically, and it's something that's much less likely to irritate the tendons when they're sore. Same thing goes for if we think of the wrist extensors. If you do something like this movement, then yes, you're exercising your shoulder muscles, your rotator cuff, but you're working your wrist extensors isometrically again. So they've got to contract to not allow your wrist to jumble around while you're doing it. So I prefer exercises like those that doesn't necessarily add extra load onto those tendons in the same way if you went and isolated that movement. So yes, and the nice thing about bicep curls is you can do it with the hand in this position. Then these tendons are getting a bit more exercise. You can do it like that, and you can even do it like that. So there's plenty of scope there to work with. Now, tip number 3 is that you will have to change your habits. You cannot carry on working all day long without taking enough breaks and expect an overuse injury like that to get better. You're going to have to be breaking your day up. I know it's annoying because when people get into their work, they don't like taking breaks, but doing your exercises first thing in the morning is great. It's not going to last for longer than an hour or 2 hours, the effect. So try to get into the habit of every single hour taking a break and just doing one of those exercises. You don't even have to do 3 sets of 10 of them. Just do 10. Something like that, that you get the oxygen moving and the blood supplies moving. That way you can keep it healthy throughout the day. So honestly, just force yourself, set an alarm clock or something and listen to that alarm clock. If it goes off, jump up, grab your band, do something 10 times, go back to what you were doing, and just make it non-negotiable. If you want to get rid of a wrist injury like that from overuse, you're going to have to start being good with doing things like that. So the 3 tips is 1, relative rest. So make sure you adjust your workstation that you don't have to use those muscles in that same way so much. 2, strength training. 3, regular breaks with strength training in it. Excellent. Let me know if you've got any questions. And if you need more help with your injury or you want a tailored treatment plan, you're welcome to check out my website's link is in the description of this video. Take care.